Welcome to the Imagine Not Being Leeds.
Imagine not being Leeds, not feeling this pain, not dancing through thunder, not walking through rain. Imagine not rising with fists in the air when the world turned its back and no one would care. We've lived in the ashes, we've drowned in defeat, but still we stand proud on our battered old feet. Imagine not loving with all that you are. Imagine not being Leeds.
We love you, Leeds, Leeds, Leeds.
We do love you, Leeds. Now then, Leeds fans, hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's having an okay week, at the very least. Huge game on Sunday. I feel like we talk about the game's been huge for Leeds United this season every week, which, yeah, I suppose that is true enough. Do me a favour before we get into the video, please smash a like. I'd really, really appreciate it. And if you're new here, or you're not, and you're just not subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and notification bell. I would love that. Thank you very much. So then, Leeds v Brentford on Sunday afternoon. Oh, it's a little bit of a worry, the whole London hoodoo. I don't know whether you buy into that personally, but it has become an issue at Leeds United for many a moon. Different managers not being able to crack it. Keith Andrews is a bit of a funny one. We all sort of laughed when he got appointed at Brentford for, Brentford's a decent, well-run club. What are they doing appointing that sausage? But he's done okay. He has done all right at Brentford. There's no getting away from that. Yeah, I mean, we expected them to be. I did personally in a relegation battle. I've seen a lot of content early doors from the Brentford side saying they were quite comfortable with the squad and they expected Andrews to kick on and do well. And, they're above Leeds United. They've had some great results, especially at home. And they are a tough side at home as well. And with Leeds United's frailties away, only the one win coming away at Molineux, the 3-1 win against Wolves, something has to give. It's come to the point now where we're Leeds United, we look solid at home. We seem to have turned a corner. Things seem a little bit more positive in camp, in the fan base. That can turn pretty quickly. I do feel a little bit like Farke's on probation. I did a video about that the other day. That he's never much more than a couple of losses or poor performances away from people like myself and other people who will come out and say, maybe we need a new manager, maybe he's not got it. But what I will say is this last week last week, should I say, those 3 games against City, Chelsea and Liverpool, it proved a lot of people wrong in the fact that he is willing to change and adapt. He sort of changed his philosophy and went away from something he hasn't done before and showed that he's willing to change. And maybe it's one of them cases where in life you stick to your principles and that's fine, whatever it is you're going through, and you have a way of doing stuff. But you get backed into a corner and you make a change, and then all of a sudden you see that change can work. So I hope he's not blind to the fact now. We saw him use it against Liverpool, the 3-5-2 after it being success at City in second half, and obviously at home at Chelsea, and it didn't work for staff against Liverpool. But I do think there were much more to that than just a system change. I do think Liverpool are a good side, regardless of whether, the form and where they are on the table. Man for man, they are better than Leeds United, I would say. The loss of Metcha in that game proved, I think, significant as well, especially in that formation. I think he's his outball a lot of the time as well, and he can run in behind, and he gives us somebody else who can hold the ball up and sort of, drop deep and collect, rather than having someone like Okafor who really is just a runner off of DCL. I think we massively missed having Metcha up there. So depending on Metcha's fitness, does that lean into a different formation for the start of this game? I'd like to hope, maybe not. I mean, I quite like to see the 3-5-2 again, just so it shows that I'm very wary that Farke will use something if it works. So the fact that the second half of Liverpool was a 4-3-3, a 3-4-3, a 4-2-3-1, it was a few formations, but not the 3-5-2. Does that mean he won't start with a 3-5-2 because it didn't work at the latter end of the Liverpool game? We will have to see. But what I will say is it's unpredictability now from Leeds United, and that's what I wanted. We now do not know what the team lineup's going to be. We can now no longer predict the formation. I think that's fair to say. We can't as fans. And that's a great position to be in, because that means neither can Brentford. They can have an idea, but now they've got to work on a tactical sort of plan for maybe 2 or 3 different styles, 2 or 3 different formations that Leeds United now appear to having as Arsenal. And that's only a good thing from a Leeds United standpoint. So regardless of formation and personnel, I'm happy that it's less predictable. Even if it's a 4-3-3 with Aronson on the right, there's nothing saying Brentford would have been able to hang the hat on that being the formation and the lineup we will start with. So it's going to be interesting to see that lineup again. I say it every week, the lineup's interesting. It's getting like that, more and more as the season goes on. And hopefully in January they'll kick up a few more players in there as well, where, no one's sort of guaranteed a spot. We've brought in a couple more decent players, and it's a really healthy squad. I think I seen a stat today that we top the injury chart as well in the Premier League this season, which is evident. We felt it. We've had some decent players missing. Not notably as wingers at times, and that as a newly promoted side with a side that were already lacking quality and blah blah blah. It's a tough gig. It is a tough gig. We really needed a bit of a lady luck with those injuries, and we really haven't had it. And for the position we're in and the points we're on now after a great week, it's not a bad position to be in right now, I would suggest. So, Brentford, let's get into it. So, let me quickly flag up a few of their bits and bobs. Share screen. And we'll have a little look at the stats. Come on. Here we go. Right. So, Brentford currently sat 14th. Not bad. They started to be pulling a little bit away from Leeds United, and then now with a win, we will be dragging them straight back down to our in and around us, which is great. Problem for me is when we look at the home form table, they are currently 4th, which is very, very good form for them. You look at their away form is the reason that they're further down the league. They've only won, like us, they've only won 1, no draws away from home. But at home, they've only lost 1 and drawn 1. They've won 5 of their 7 games, 2.29 points per game with a 7+ goal difference, 15 goals scored. So they're scoring more than 2 a game at home, and they're just conceding just over 1. I see there in the last 5 there, they've only lost 1 at home. So their home record is so good. And very much like Leeds United. The away form, terrible at times this season. The home form is the reason they're doing well and keeping afloat. They've got some really key players for them. Damsgaard is one hell of a player Leeds will have to really watch out for. But really, when you look at it's not that one. Keep clicking wrong button. This one. When you look at their danger men, Igor Thiago's on 11 goals this season. We talk about wanting, as a side who's fighting relegation, you talk about can you get a striker who's going to bring you 10 or 15 goals? To already after 15 games to have Igor Thiago on 11, that's probably the difference in staying up and going down. You get Jordan Henderson on 3 assists there, having a great season, coming in from Ajax. Kevin Shard, who's missing for this game, I believe, which is good news for us. He got booked or sent off in last game. He's suspended anyway for this game. Brilliant. But they've got some great players, Fabio Carvalho, we know him well. Damsgaard, great in that pocket, really talented footballer. He's a Danish lad, and obviously Thiago's up there just putting him away. And 11 goals at this stage of season is unreal. We'd give anything for Calvert-Lewin to end the season on 11 goals. And there's still 23 games left at season. It's mad when you look at it like that. So, they've got Igor Thiago there who knows where the onion bag is, and if we're not careful, we'll put it away. So that's got to be the main focus, really. With Sin Leeds against City, be able to sort of usher a main threat, a massive threat in Erling Haaland away from goal and not really give him many chances. Problem with that is can't focus too much on that strike, because you allow people like Damsgaard and Carvalho the time to get in and around the box, and that's a major sort of like problem for Leeds United in this one. And then there's these as well. So I wanted to have a quick look at, because I think this is quite an interesting point with Brentford. Their home wins, they've had some great wins at home. So you look at these wins here. They beat Aston Villa, drawn against Chelsea, beat Scum, beat Liverpool, beat Newcastle, beat Burnley. A lot of goals there. 3 goals, 3 goals, 3 goals, 3 goals, 2 goals, 1 goal. You know what I mean? Like scoring a lot of goals, but the calibre of sides are beating. They've had some tough games, and they've come out the other side. And more importantly, look at the times of the goals. I've highlighted massively this season Leeds United switching off. The sort of attention to detail in key moments has been very poor. Start of halves, end of halves, after we've scored a goal, being vulnerable to conceding, we need to switch on and stay focused for the 90 plus minutes. Because look at that, Brentford, early goal, 12 minutes, yeah, it is what it is, but an early goal. In here, you've got 93rd minute, Carvalho rescues a point against Chelsea. They go to the end. 8 minutes in, they scored a goal there, Thiago. 8 minutes in, straight out of the 95th minute as well, Jensen gets one. The start of the game, the end of the game, they switched on Brentford, and we need to make sure we're switched on for it too. 5 minutes into that game, they scored a goal against Liverpool. 5 minutes in, Quattro with a goal there. Shard, 56 minutes, but look at that again. At the bottom there, Thiago, 95 plus minutes, another late goal. And here, you've got 3 late goals against Burnley. 81, 86, and 92. It just goes to show you've got to stay switched on for the 90-odd minutes, because we have been so lax at times, I think, defensively. And we are conceding 2 or 3 goals a game. And they score, 2 goals a game at home. And the fact that they're getting a lot of early goals, they're getting a lot of goals in 90-plus minutes. Yeah, we know that with Tanaka against Liverpool. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant to get that 95-minute equaliser. We know what it's like, but this is something they're doing consistently at home. And we need to be wary of that. We need to make sure we are switched on, whichever formation we have. And if we do go behind to an early goal, hopefully Farke continues that in-game management that we've never really seen up until last week. And that gives me confidence going forward that we can get results in these sort of games. Facing Brentford, it's not as exciting as facing, your Cities and your Liverpools and your Chelsea. It's not. And can the players maintain that level that they've shown for those big games? It's easy to get up for a Chelsea and Liverpool at Ella Road. Travelling to London, are we on? Is it going to be a bit of a come down facing Brentford? Because if it is, we'll get shown up and we'll get slapped up at Brentford. We need to make sure we are on it, because this is a game that we can win. This is a game we can win. It's going to be tough, very tough. I mean, they're a very fast, direct side of Brentford. They're really good on and off the ball. They've had games that played really well and had the Lions share of the possession. They've also won quite a few of their games with less possession. I think a ploy that Leeds United are better playing that sort of system too. They're really good at winning the ball back and countering and scoring with few touches. Play really direct, play vertical football. It's really, really good football that they play in the games they've won at home. Very, very hard to beat. Very hard to beat. Remember the Man United game? That's the game I watched 90 minutes of, and they were outstanding in that game. That counter attack from set pieces. If you are switched off, they can go full length of field and score. So it's a fixture I'm wary about, but a fixture I do believe we can get something in. So to touch on Leeds United then, line-up wise, it's difficult to say. I think if Metcha plays, which I'm not too sure, we'll find out in the presser on Friday afternoon, I would assume. If Metcha's in, then I think a 3-5-2, stick with that, and hopefully that will prove that the Chelsea game wasn't just a one-off, and that system works for our side, because I believe that's our best system for the players we have. And then you've got exciting players coming off. You mix it up in second half and you can bring your wingers on. You can change system to suit that. That's fine. I think if Metcha's out, I didn't like the look of Okafor up there with DCL. So do you maybe have to go back to a 4-3-3 and maybe start an Aronson on right or a Nonso? Nonso would be my pick after winning a penalty. I know he didn't play on that right, but he looked great when he came on. I'd maybe look at a 4-3-3 and have Nonso on the right, Okafor on the left with DCL up top if there's no Metcha. With a midfield three of Tanaka, Stack and Ampadu, and then your back four of Strauch, Rodon, Bogle and Goodmanson. But it's hard to say. I mean, Biol doesn't deserve to come out. But for me, you can only play Biol in a back five. I don't think it'd be fair to drop Strauch. It's a difficult one. I do all I can to keep the 3 centre halves in, and ideally have 2 up top. But it just does depend on personnel. And Tanaka, I think, has to start. I think if Gruev's in there instead of a Tanaka, it signals to me a very negative, weak mentality there that we can't win, or we're going to try and take them deep into the game. Where for me, just play our game. I think if Tanaka's on a massive high, Beale's on a high, yeah, I try and keep the side as close to what's been starting the last few weeks as possible, because that does work for me. I know Liverpool we were 2-0 down, but I do think we limited them to not much in that first half, and it were only a couple of individual headers that led them to those goals. So be switched on for 90 minutes, keep it tight, and let players like Tanaka play with freedom. Let DCL and hopefully Metcha do what they can do up top. I would love to see Goodmanson and Bogle again in the wing back positions up and down those flanks. Bogle and Ampadu have to be really careful because they are on one more booking away from suspension, so they have to be wary of that too. But yeah, it leans to me that we can get something at Brentford. I'm not going to be overzealous and say we're going to hammer them like I have done in the past. But I am still a little bit wary that it's only been 7 really good days for Leeds United. 3 great games, I suppose. 4 points out of those 9 available. Wouldn't have expected it. But yeah, I want to see the progression now. I want to see that it wasn't just a one-off and we can kick on and in these next few fixtures, because it's still a tough run. You know, obviously Brentford away, Palace at home, and then Sunderland away. It's not an easy run, but it'd be nice to pick up, you know, maybe 6 points, 4 points, 5 points. Yeah, winning a couple of draws, a couple of wins, maybe. It's doable for this side now with the confidence. And I think when you score a 95th minute goal, the lads are bouncing into training. They'll have had a great week at training this week. Touch wood, we get a little bit of good news at that press conference tomorrow that the boys are fit and hopefully Metcha, fundamentally is fit and raring to go. But I'm gonna go 2-all. I'm gonna go 2-all. I think it'll be a draw. I think we'll concede a goal at least. So yeah. A lot of averages say we concede a couple, but I do think we can score a couple too. So I'm going to go 2-all, but it's not out of the realms of possibility that we can go there and win that game 2-0, 2-1. Just have to make sure we switched on and try and cut out those individual errors that have creeped in at times this season. But yeah, the London Hoodoos just making me feel like we just won't quite get the 3 points. But I would be buzzing with a point in London, and I'm sure everybody else would. But let me know your thoughts. What score prediction? What do you think the lineup would be? What will the formation be? What do you guys reckon will happen Sunday afternoon? So yeah, please smash a like on the video. I would really appreciate it. Please like, please subscribe, all that jargon. Take care, everyone. Make sure you're back for late night Leeds tomorrow. It should be a good one. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.